Welcome back, everybody. Final segment of the week here as we come down the home stretch with a topic I wanted to hit on. We talked about it last week. We saw we were actually on the air. I think we got the email from the University of North Dakota when they announced the elimination of their men's and women's tennis programs a week after each of them played in the Summit League Championship down in Tulsa. And they drawing unfortunately, a growing list of programs, Division I schools that are eliminating tennis programs. I thought a guy would be able to talk about this, who played the sport, coached it both in college as well, just won the MIAC Coach of the Year over Concordia. Former South standout David Youngs joins us this morning to try and explain what's going on. First, how you doing, bud? It's good to see you.
I'm doing well. I'm doing better now that I'm chatting with you, Dom.
I appreciate that.
It's great to be here and talk about something that like we talked about off air, unfortunately probably won't be going away anytime soon.
So give me your perspective on this. You were in the game, you coached the game. Why has this rash happened over, it seems like, the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, it's been a fire sale in a sense. And unfortunately, the reality is when NIL came to fruition in college athletics and just this push for more of a free market, for paying athletes their worth, and rightfully so, student athletes, we're now seeing some of the negative effects, especially when it comes to smaller, non-revenue generating sports like tennis. To put it simply, I was chatting when the news came out about the University of North Dakota last week. First person that I was talking with was Brad Schlossman, up in Grand Forks, and we were talking about essentially. It's pretty simple. Would you rather, have $500K to fund a tennis program, or would you rather give $100K to 5 different football, basketball, hockey student athletes that could go on and play in the NHL, the NBA, the NFL, whatever it may be? And that's not to say that myself or a lot of tennis people are anti-large sports. I'm about as big of a college football fan, college hockey fan as it gets out there. But the reality is, you got to look at where institutions and leadership are placing their priorities. And so it's something that, while it is really, really unfortunate, I'm a firm believer that college athletics is rooted in the student athlete experience, creating great athletes, but more importantly, great husbands, wives, business leaders, community leaders, etc. That's all really important. And institutions need to make money and want to make as much money as they can. Unfortunately, tennis doesn't make it.
You're in the sport, so you see this coming down the pike, because we've talked about the Olympic sports and certainly the non-revenue generators like tennis, like cross country, golf, swimming, volleyball. They seem like they're in the crosshairs, and now it seems like tennis is the first to get it.
Yeah, we are seeing that. And this time around, University of North Dakota kind of came as a shocker to me. There were a couple of years back when I was still playing at Concordia, had some buddies up on the team at UND, and it was when they unfortunately dropped women's hockey. And there was a lot of talk there in the tennis circles of, oh boy, are we going to drop tennis again? Are we going to drop tennis again? It wasn't, but this time it was. I think it comes down to the fact, this fire sale started with the University of Arkansas, and the numbers are there, where the reality is, like you mentioned, we're not bringing in revenue. It costs a lot of money to fund a program, not nearly as much as a major sports or even a lot of the other, what you could consider smaller sports. But the reality is those flights out west don't get any cheaper, especially with the major airline closing now. Hotels don't get any cheaper. Food doesn't get any cheaper. So that number is only going to go up. And so after University of Arkansas cut their program, then we saw Illinois State, we saw St. Louis, UND, Gardner-Webb announced that it's going to be their last full year of tennis this upcoming season. 2 of those schools that I just mentioned were in the NCAA tournament the previous year. And UND, like you mentioned, both the men's and women's programs won the Summit this season, which I think that made it the biggest shocker for me. Was in the world of sports, it's often assumed that success equals stability. Clearly, that is not always the case.
For you, when you were coaching as well, just how hard was it to find players? Even was this specter out there saying, well, I don't know if I want to keep doing it, knowing it might go away sometime soon?
It's a great question. And the reality is that Division I and Division III have always been different. You could argue that they're more different than they've ever been before, but still, it does not go unnoticed. Tennis is a unique sport because you look at the top 100 recruits in a sport like football, they're all going to schools like, Alabama, Wisconsin. Tennis, you can see Division III schools on that list, like University of Chicago, Gustavus Adolphus. And so it's a beautiful thing, but because of that, it's a tight-knit community. And, thankfully at Concordia, when I was at the helm there for our men's tennis program, outstanding leadership in Rachel Bergeson when it came to the athletic department. And we were given the resources that we needed. And I think one thing, too, that the MIAC, the Minnesota Intercollegiate Athletic Conference, just does really well is emphasizing that student-athlete experience. We want to win on the field, on the court, but we want you to be involved in other things. When I look at the team that I coached at Concordia, we had some great tennis players, but we had guys that were doing internships, involved in music, in all sorts of clubs, organizations, activities. So that holistic learning approach was emphasized. And so because of that, I'm a little less worried about the Division III level, but if you actually talk about the money component of it, it's no secret that funding a full athletic department, I don't care what division it is really expensive.
Well, I look at it as well, David, for the Olympic sports, which is tennis is one of them. If you're not having these programs and you want to continue to generate Olympic caliber players, and I know the pros play in the Olympics, but you'll forgive me on this, like the pipeline is there. And if there's no pipeline to get to there, then what are we doing if it's just going to be football and basketball and then everything else can go to hell in a handbasket?
That's a great point, Dom. I mean, I look at it this way. University of North Dakota, when they reamped their tennis program, started it up again, I was a high school student athlete. Immediately was like, how cool would it be to go and play for my home state institution? For kids in the state of Minnesota, there was nothing cooler than going to Baseline Tennis Center at the University of Minnesota, which, by the way, is won National Facility of the Year multiple times, and watch the Gopher men's program and women's program play and say, I want to be like that someday. And even when UND started their program up again, being non-scholarship at the time, you had a lot of local talents on the team, state of Minnesota across the river, state of North Dakota across the river in Minnesota as well. And so that does matter, in my opinion, because look at UND hockey. Look at the reason that Grand Forks Central, Grand Forks Red River have traditionally outstanding programs. There's a prize to keep your eye on there.
You worried about the future of this, that there's more coming, that maybe in 10 years, do we even have NCAA, sponsored tennis?
To be frank, yes, I am. If that being said, that's the case if the priority continues to be on revenue, which doesn't look like it's going anywhere anytime soon. And I can understand why. Again, it does on paper make sense. The sad thing is tennis is never going to make money. I'll tell you what tennis does do. Collegiate tennis, just like tennis at any level, you learn outstanding critical thinking skills. We see a lot of tennis players go on to become wonderful business leaders, educators, invested members in their community. Yet at the end of the day, you can't guarantee that a team of 8 college tennis players 10 years after their graduation are each going to give 50 to 100K back to the institution.
Correct.
Even some of them may, some of them probably will. Yeah. But the reality is, you look at University of North Dakota hockey. You've got guys going to the NHL year in, year out. That's incredible. That's an incredible revenue generator for the institution, name, image, and likeness. And so I am worried. I think that I can only speak on behalf of the upper Midwest here. Yeah. But the USTA Northern section, which includes North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, and Western Wisconsin, does have a very tight-knit group that is supportive of college tennis, and definitely really disappointed to see this. And so the community support is there, but it comes down to money.
Let me go back to one thing. We got a couple minutes left. From what your perspective is, especially when you were just in the collegiate game, are there still kids playing the sport? I think I know the answer, but you're the expert. Are there still high schoolers that want to go and do this at the next level?
There really are, Dom. I would argue it's not the tennis boom that the United States saw in the 70s, 80s, 90s, but pickleball has obviously gotten really big, and I'm a firm believer that tennis has reaped some of the benefits of that. You put a racket in somebody's hand or a paddle in somebody's hand, I don't care what sport it is, they're more naturally inclined to try another racket sport, including tennis.
Yeah.
And so we're seeing, in the Twin Cities Metro, a lot of kids playing. In North Dakota, same thing. Obviously, talent ebbs and flows in each state, but the numbers are there, and it's a lifelong sport. I always grew up hearing my dad say, you can play this sport your whole life. I always thought it was kind of cliche, but then I realized as I got older, tennis is beautiful in that sense, not just because you can actually play the sport, but because you meet some really, really, really good people through it. You network through it. So many people meet their husband or wife through tennis. And so there is a unique sense of community around it. And I think that keeps drawing people to the sport at a young age. And, they stay involved or invested in some way, shape, or form for the rest of their life.
And I mean, this is a sport, I know you grew up with it, so you're in a unique spot, but it's one that you care passionately about, and it's right there with you. I'm really interested to see what other sports go. Like tennis, and this is no offense to the tennis crowd out there, people will see it and make, maybe an eyebrow raise, but if a volleyball program goes, or team decides baseball, and UND dropped baseball a decade ago, if that happens, then I think people will really wake up like, wait a minute, what's happening here, because the money is going to football and basketball? That's
a really good point, because, I mean, us tennis players, we like to be self-aware. Nobody's dishing out hundreds of dollars to go watch a college tennis match. However, there are a lot of people that care about college baseball in the United States of America, about college volleyball. And unfortunately, I wish no ill will upon any other sport, but when that starts to happen, I do, like you said, believe that more eyes will be raised, because you have to go back, I sound old here, but the NCAA, in the minds of most, is the governing body to create the student athlete experience. And right now, student athlete experience means a lot of different things to a lot of different people.
This was great, man. I really appreciate you doing this. It's great to see you. Tell your pops I said hi. Be well, and we'll talk again down the road, okay?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, Dom. Appreciate you.
Former Fargo South State champion, Concordia head coach David Young's joining us on, again, 6 tennis programs being eliminated over the last 2 weeks. And I read that, and then there's a story here. University of Illinois spent $20 million to build the largest scoreboard in college football. And I get it. I know it makes money. I know it's on. But at what expense are we doing it when, as the David said, we're eliminating the college experience there? And some universities are bloated. They have way too many sports. But didn't think and Brad had the story with the amount of expenses that UND was spending on tennis. Combined, it was almost $1 million. Men spent $428,000, the women $600,000. So yeah, you're $100,000 there. $1 million there. So if you're looking at the bottom line and line item, hey, we can save $1 million and eliminate those two. Yeah, I can see why administrators would do that. But I mean, again, this is the thought of once the floodgates opened and there was no guardrails. You heard Richmond say that in the previous segment of what we're going to spend our money on, that inevitably it was going to be football, certainly, and men's basketball. But football is so out here that the ones that don't make any money, cross country, golf, tennis, soccer, baseball to an extent, hockey, volleyball to an extent, like what happens there? And that, especially because all those are feeder programs to the U.S. Olympic teams. Tennis being one, golf being one, volleyball, soccer. If we're not having teams, it ain't good. Appreciate his time. We'll take our final break. We come back. We'll put a bow on things for the week. Get you ready. Got a big playoff game tonight for the Timberwolves. See if they can go up in the series. And we'll get you out the door. Hot Mic wraps for the week right after this.